Let's take some questions from the audience. Meenakshi Lekhi, Member of Parliament from the Bharatiya Janata Party, wants to ask the first question to Ms. Khar. Can somebody bring the mic, please? To the lady in the saffron sari.
Thank you very much, Rahul. I have a twofold question. The first is regarding Ms. Rabbani's knowledge about Shimla Agreement. I would want her to repeat that. And also, at the time of partition in 1947, the population, which is minority population Hindus in Pakistan, was close to 15%. Today it is reduced to 1% or less than 1%. I think she needs to talk about the secular credentials of Pakistan, and I would want her response.
Here we have a repeat of history. Every India-Pakistan dialogue, even if it is one arranged by India Today or if it has to eventually degenerate into accusations and responding to accusations. And I will want to just steer away from that because I think Pakistan is a country which was made to serve Muslim and Islamic interests. Pakistan still is very comfortable with that identity. Pakistan would like to move beyond that identity in terms of being able to take better care of its minorities. We are very aware of the issues which Pakistan needs to address. And I think, as was repeatedly said, we do not need to sort of go into that debate again and again. However, can I just say on this, really, I think I'm unhappy with how this debate has turned out, right? Because I think typically we are unable to put the regional lens and go into this debate of you said this and we said this. Now, what I'm trying to say, and with all humility, is that there has been a sea change in Pakistan. Pakistani domestic politics does not compel its leaders to be antagonistic to India anymore. You might debate about the centers of power, etc., etc. Now, you might say the same is true for India. Now, when a Prime Minister of Pakistan gestures by coming, and it was, I'm no spokesperson from Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, and you can say all about his leadership. I may even agree with you, right? But all I'm saying is that when he comes to India, he takes a bit of a, risk. And for that gesture to be thrown so quickly, and for, you see, why, let's, for a second, please spend a bit of time why your government's gesture of saying that if you talk to the Hurriyat, we are not talking anymore, is such a big thing as opposed to anything else that your government has done previously, is because you have set a new red line that did not exist before. And I am very aware of the Simla Agreement. It was post-Simla Agreement that there has been the composite dialogue where Kashmir has been a point for the resumed dialogue also, that you have to discuss this. Now, if you want to sit here and act like Kashmir is not an issue, doesn't need to be discussed, and Pakistan dare not say anything about it, then basically what you're doing is that you are ensuring that Pakistan, you are basically telling the world and to Pakistan that India, secular India, thinks it is in its interest to continue to have hostile relations with Pakistan. Now, what Pakistan did give to you, yes, we did not give much, but what we did give to you was that let's move our way towards resolution of the Kashmir dispute. Let's start on trade. Let's start on cooperating on Afghanistan. And to give you an example of what domestic politics is all about, please do remember that, the gentleman from Congress very rightly pointed out, maybe we can talk about Afghanistan. Well, we did talk about in Afghanistan. It was between Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and Prime Minister Gilani. And when Prime Minister Gilani talked about, the state apparatus in India stroking anti-Pakistan elements within Afghanistan to create discontent in Balochistan, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, like a statesman, said, let's talk about it. We all know the reception that he got in India. So if your statesmen, if your leaders agree to talk about an issue, you pretty much make it impossible for them to talk about it at all. So really, I think the thing is that we have been bad neighbors. We have been hostile to each other. We have filtered in hatred as state policy into our generations, mine and yours. Now, if that is the trend that we want to continue, so be it. I think it's great policy that your government is following. I will encourage my government to also follow a similar policy. And let's continue to hate each other, despise each other, kill each other. But really, this region is being held hostage by this animosity. And if we are not going to learn, I don't know what we are waiting for. Look at ASEAN, look at EU, look at every other region in the world. There have been difficult relations. They have managed to find their way around it. But if we want to continuing to upping the ante and making it even more and more impossible, so be it. We can all play this game.
Okay, let's take more questions. Meenakshi, this will then become a debate. There are many hands up that want to take questions. Gentleman here.
Thank you, Rahul. This is Professor Pyakuriala and also a member of 18th SAARC Summit Advisory Council. I have a pretty simple question. There is a strong feeling that we have two SAARC, 2 members, and SAARC, rest of other member countries. So if somebody, there was a couple of times the issue for bringing in bilateral issues to the regional forum was brought out during our meeting also and during the meetings that we attended in SAARC member countries. If the resolution to bring in bilateral issues to the regional forum would be moved, how would Pakistan and India react? This is my question.
That's a very good question. That should bilateral issues be out of the purview of SAARC? You come here, find ways of fostering regional cooperation, move ahead, and don't let India and Pakistan constantly torpedo SAARC.
Mr. Puri actually in his opening address referred to this, and that was, I didn't repeat it in the initial part, because that's exactly a point. I hinted to it, or touched upon it towards the end, by saying perhaps there is a framework to move on in terms of commonality in the region, rather than keeping it hostage to bilateral issues. And I think that's how, and Mr. Puri again put it there, because I would only be repeating what he said, that many countries do feel that, and things haven't moved on SAARC. But here's an opportunity, and I see no reason why it can't happen.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Chaya Sharma, and I'm a member of parliament from the Madhesi Janadhikar Forum, Nepal, Madhesi People's Rights Forum. Any 3 of the speakers can answer my questions. I think it goes to all of you. Listening to all 3 of you on India and Pakistan relation in person, in live, has been very interesting for me. And some of the phrases that I caught was one-way traffic, past 6 decades, both have tried, hostage to domestic politics, there is a trust deficit, the whole region is being held hostage by the animosity. These are some of the things which we have been hearing over and over again. And in a very simple and a layperson's point of view, as I see it, few comments and
ma'am, with respect, could you get to the question, please?
Yeah,
short
okay.
of time. Just ask your question, ma'am.
Okay, given that both India and Pakistan have shared history, both have suffered and under British occupation, so why can't, and of late we have seen that people-to-people relation has also improved. We see through media and, you see in culture, art, like your people are going to India and Indian artists are also coming to Pakistan. So finding common grounds on some critical issues, advocating common interests, rather than endorsing any form of violence or hatred. Is that possible? Also maybe acknowledgement on benefits of peace or even friendship, rather than always playing this fault and blame, which are mostly on top of the political agendas. Is that possible? Probably making effort to bring under control terrorist activities, which is also causing distrust, may improve your relations. So, and my last question, do you think sooner or later the Kashmir issue will have addressed either by your own choice or through international pressure? Thank you.
May I take that?
Yes, Manish.
We have a mindset issue on both sides of the Vaga. So therefore, till the time the mindset issue does not get resolved, I'm afraid the progress which the rest of the region wants to see may be incremental, which leads into the earlier question which was asked about regionalizing bilateral disputes. It might sound as a very interesting concept, but I'm afraid I don't think there would be any real traction on bilateral or on regionalizing bilateral disputes, given the kind of policy that we are in. So therefore, if at all at some point in time, there is conviction of courage in both sides in order to try and break out of the mold of the old mindsets and possibly explore new frontiers on a sustained basis, then maybe. Otherwise, it's frozen turbulence.
Okay, Mr. Shobhan, just one by one. Yes, sir. Yes, just one by one. Can someone bring the mic here, please?
Farooq Subhan from Bangladesh. I have a question for Ms. Khar and a question also for Mr. Nalin Kohli. Ms. Khar, you were a member of 2 previous governments. What's your view about the position of the Pakistan Army on regional cooperation in South Asia? Would you describe it as being positive, enthusiastic? Kohli, in your view, we've heard a lot about Mr. Moon to building relations with India's neighbors. In that context, would the economic agenda, as it were, be given more importance than the security concerns?
Do you want to go first?
Okay, simply, I think, again, I said that sometimes perception is bigger than reality. I think Pakistan is suffering from that vis-a-vis the whole debate of military's role in Pakistan's foreign policy. The military was in control of Pakistan for a good 30 years of Pakistan's 67-year history with military regimes there. And therefore, I think the world cannot get out of looking at Pakistan the way it is presenting itself today, as a democratic country where the military has a role with the security of Pakistan, where the military is doing what is its responsibility, such as fighting the terrorists in North Waziristan and manning the borders. So, you know, when you superimpose the role of the military on anything Pakistan decides to do, I'll give you a simple example, because I think what you do is more important than what you say. We can all say pretty words, but we can seldom do pretty walk. So, for instance, on the Heart of Asia conference, which was on Afghanistan, there was a general view that Pakistan would not want to be on the same table as Afghanistan. Now,
the Afghanistan-Pakistan paradigm can also be repeated in the India-Pakistan paradigm on the trade and transit front. And I completely agree with you that, after all, it's a very, very dynamic region. So therefore, if there is antagonisms between 2 major states which are holding up economic progress, maybe the time has come to possibly allow sub-regional cooperation to play itself out. Maybe it may even help the process of normalizing India-Pakistan relations. And to Mr. Iyer's point, he's absolutely correct. He's an extremely consummate diplomat. You know, he should ban all bilateral conversations at multilateral fora. I'm a complete supporter of that.
I think there'll be a lot of applause here in Nepal if they were to ban India-Pakistan bilaterals, or even the question about whether there'll be a bilateral. That young lady over there in the corner, sitting next to Jyoti. Yes. Can someone bring her the mic, please?
Hello, I am Pratima Kuar, and I'm a student. And as a Nepali student, we are tired of seeing India and Pakistan always fighting with each other. So, can you please stop, because it will be good for both of the nation and all SAARC nations. Thank you.
No, but Nalin, this is an important point, and I want to build on what Hina just said, that in Pakistan, bashing India is no longer something that gets votes. It's not fashionable. But in India, it is still fashionable in several political circles to be tough or to beat Pakistan, to be very macho on Pakistan.
Perhaps because we have a different policy of bashing. Ours may be more verbal. So, whereas, to say it honestly, I don't think there is.
No, but there is merit in that response,
okay, fair enough.
And that is that, you know, this is just verbal aggression. But from Pakistan, there is physical aggression. 26/11, you sneak terrorists in, Indians die. And then you say, why is there a trust deficit? Why are we not able to move forward? Why are Indians upset? But that's because Indians are dying because of acts committed willingly by actors in Pakistan.
Again, I think this is very interesting, because you are superimposing a a perception on reality, right? Because, you know, I know, and I've spoken to many Indians who are very optimistic, who were at least very optimistic about Pakistan-India relations, who said everything changed after 26/11. And please do not expect the same graciousness from us. Now, the 26/11 trial is still ongoing. The Samjhota Express trials are still ongoing also. Do you see Pakistanis using the Samjhota Express trial as an excuse to say, your state sponsored this terrorism on Pakistani lives, and therefore we cannot go back? Now, what I'm saying is the past is difficult. The perception of each other's intentions are really, really bad. We feel that you do not want us on the map of the world. You probably feel that we want to destabilize you every opportunity we get. Now, I'm saying let's listen to that young girl. I think that's the voice of the new generation in SAARC, in Pakistan, in India. I'm saying to you with full authority, and as a 30, you know, as a late 30s, 37-year-old, I'm saying that my generation does not feel antagonistic towards India. I'm saying I do not want my children to inherit a relationship where their identity of their country should not be one which is hostile to India. I want their identity to be a positive identity. I'm saying that if this is not a sea change, which I would say it is, it's at least a change which has happened in Pakistan. The military establishment in Pakistan also fully supports. You know, we were obviously with the military in dialogue on every move that we take. Now, when we decided to change a policy on trade, do you think that's a small gesture? You say talk, you know, talk is cheap, but actions are not. And this MFN status, you know, on papers, our government has already given India the MFN status. And yes, we need to change the nomenclature. We have changed the positive list from the negative list. That is the thing that has actually happened. However, I will just want to say, because I don't think it is important to look at things as they are. I think this one move, by putting any meeting with the Hurriyat or using this as a context to call off talks, has put hostility back on the agenda of Pakistani politicians also. I think Indian politicians, possibly Prime Minister, statesmen, do not understand what this one move has done. It has put Kashmir, which was seen as an issue which we can handle as soon as we normalize relations with India, etc., back in the center stage. That's a thing. I'm just telling you the effect. Now, it is, of course, your country, your state, your policy, and you can decide how you want to take it forward. But I can tell you that if this continues to be the Indian policy, we cannot even dream of, you know, a resumed type of a dialogue or anything.
Okay, we're out of time. But since Hina has said something important about putting hostility back on the center stage, you must respond and then we end.
It's a perception, and they are entitled to build their perception. However, I'd like to leave it with a less dark note and a little more optimistic note. We should wait. The summit itself here, which is regional, is about to really take off, start. Let's wait till the end and see. Perhaps there will be outcomes to celebrate. And that may go beyond the bilateral issues that we are doing. And I have a suggestion too. The focus on India-Pakistan obviously has had its impact on SAARC, but it's also there because the interest of even the media is primarily fixated on this. So maybe it's time to celebrate what happens beyond the India-Pakistan, whether talks will take place or not take place, whether, you know, the body language is favorable, whether someone's stiff, whether the handshake was warm or cold, all those details, let's put that aside and let's leave that out and see at the other parts of it, and there may be some cause to celebrate.
So let there be an energy agreement, a transportation agreement. The media will join the SAARC region in celebrating that as well. But I think the voice of that young girl there is the one voice that we must go back with. You know, band karo ye ladai. And if you can find a way of doing that, SAARC truly can move forward. I think we've had a cracker of a session. We haven't been able to find a way forward which will achieve peace. But if we did, then, you know, there'd be nothing to talk about. So thank you all so much for joining us. Manish Tiwari, Nalin Kohli, and Hina Rabbani Khar for coming down especially from Pakistan via Doha. Hopefully next time you can come directly. Can we have a warm round of applause, please?